Hey everyone, it's Ryan from No Credentials Required to talk to you about one of our newest partners at BellyUpSports, SeatGeek. Yeah, live sports is great on television, but the feeling of being at the arena is a priceless experience. That's why our friends at SeatGeek are there to help you find the best tickets at the best prices. Not only can you get tickets to sporting events, but you can also get tickets to concerts, comedy shows, musicals, and more. Search for your desired event now at SeatGeek.com, enter promo code BellyUpSports at checkout, and you save $20 off your first purchase. SeatGeek. Life's an event. We have the tickets.
The Carabao Cup, man, fans are not happy with the drawing of the third round of the EFL Cup. If you guys don't know what the Carabao Cup is, there's in the Premier League, outside of Champions League, like if Champions League, like UEFA tournaments weren't involved, you're potentially capable of winning 3 trophies in the Premier League. That is obviously the Premier League title, the FA Cup, and the EFL Cup or Carabao Cup. The Carabao Cup is an interesting tournament because I think while some people try to praise it, it's one of those tournaments where it's like it's kind of like the FA Cup in some sense, because it's an open tournament. It goes all throughout all levels of the English Football Federation, and yeah, so that's where like it's interesting. That's what I mean by it, because like yeah, it's the same as the FA Cup. It's just another tournament that could be won. Though a lot of people don't necessarily put it on the highest of priorities. I think depending on how your season's going, essentially it's like the U.S. Open Cup to MLS, where it's like, if your season isn't going too well, but you got the Open Cup, you're like, hey, well, at least we got this, kind of thing. Some people treat it like a priority, some people don't. That's kind of where I'm trying to express when it comes to the Carabao Cup, and fans are not happy with the drawing. So, and the reason why is because fans feel that, well, they see it as that, especially with the drawing, that there was favoritism towards the Big Six. And if you guys don't know who the Big Six is in the Premier League, it is Manchester City, Manchester United, Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, and for some fucking odd reason, Tottenham. And so I think, and the reason why they feel that there's favoritism is because the EFL did make a rule that any club playing European football will be drawn with a round 2 winner instead of each other. So essentially, the Big Six, which maybe not, well, maybe not all the Big Six. Well, actually, I think they're all competing in some form of European tournament. So actually, yeah. So the rule is, as long as you're playing in a European tournament, so Champions League, Europa League, or Europa Conference League, you'll be drawn to a winner from the round 2 of the Carabao Cup. And so also to explain that, there are rounds in the Carabao Cup. Not every team has to play in each round. So round 3 that's when you kind of start seeing the Premier League teams compete. But yeah, so some people were just kind of like, hey, what the fuck? This isn't how we want it. Like, it's like, oh, you just want them to play against an inferior opponent and keep them in to go deep in the tournament. I can see that. I could definitely see that. Some people were saying that football is dead and all that stuff. But we're also talking about the Carabao Cup. But I think obviously the outrage is that, how is it that these teams are going to be prioritized? And the reason, and obviously, it's because if these teams aren't near the end of the tournament, it becomes very, I guess, like viewership wise. And when I mean viewership wise, I mean like people outside of these EFL markets aren't gonna want to watch it. And I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you, Carabao Cup. Do I watch I'll watch the final if conveniently I'm able to. I'm not gonna go out of my way, pull up my phone while I'm at work to watch the final. That's what basically I'm telling y'all. But if I'm able to, I'll watch the final. And it's usually because it's like Manchester City versus Chelsea or Liverpool versus Manchester City. It's kind of one of those, and it is because of the Big Six. So I guess the argument does get validated as to why EFL is making that rule possible. but that doesn't guarantee that like the round two winner is going to be an easy opponent. Um, I mean, yes, would it be inferior to a team that spends millions and millions of dollars? Definitely, but I think what we learned in these tournaments, sometimes shit happens, but I can also see I can see the reason why the fans are getting irritated by it. Um, Also, I mean, I do believe that that they're these these huge Premier League teams, they end up getting home field advantage versus the smaller team, or at least I guess the underdog. Which I've made that argument also for U.S. Open Cup, that that the MLS team should be going to the other team's stadium, like play in their field, because I feel like that benefits that team more, and I feel the same way about this as well. Um, but and then it provides a challenge. I think that's where it provides the challenge, like how strong is the home field advantage for the other team versus a big six, if you will. And so, and then also I think like attendance isn't necessarily great for these matches. I could be wrong on that, but I think unless it's the final, I don't think frankly people care about it too much enough to go out of their way to go show up to watch this match. Um, so I can see the frustration from fans, right? That they're basically catering this tournament to the teams that they feel is going to get the most bang for their buck. But also in the argument though, it's just not a lot of people are going to want to see these other teams play and deep in these tournaments. And I mean, more often than not, like the Big Six eventually ends up pretty far in the tournament, anyways. I mean, from the occasional choke job that one of them will do, but yeah, I think yes, the outrage is granted. That's warranted. It should be a fairly open opportunity. Uh, to that you don't know the mystery of you're not knowing who you're going to go up against. But I would also say, and once again I see the flaw in it because once again all these teams I believe are in some sort of European competition. Um, you know, but that means that if these guys aren't in a European competition, it's very possible that they would draw against each other if they weren't playing in a European competition. But it's just more often than not, these guys are the ones competing in European competitions. So it's a very tricky setup. I know, and I think it's specifically only for this round. After that, the drawing is the drawing. But I can see the frustration from fans, but then I can also see that EFL's got to make money somehow from this, and they know that you know if these teams and even though they're not saying the Big Six, they're talking about the teams that are competing for European competition. So they're not saying it, but they're also kind of saying it because the teams that would be in those competitions would be the Big Six. Um, and so for that, yeah, I can see the frustration for fans. It is disheartening, but like you got to protect your asset, right? You got to protect you got to protect it in some way, and so I can also see it from the EFL's perspective. But yeah, it is kind of shady. It kind of sucks. So I definitely feel for them in that form of fashion. But we'll see, man. We'll see how this pans out. We'll see if what fans decide to do. Will they boycott the Carabao Cup? We'll see. We'll see how that all transpires.